Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode here at Tribal Trades, the daily show coming at you from the great state of Florida. One hell of a drug. And I do want to welcome you to the channel wherever you are tuning in from around the world. Thanks for watching. Today, the title of the show is Bitcoin has just made history. What kind of history? We're going to talk about that and a whole bunch more. We're going to look at the charts, talk about where I see the market heading now that we've had this parabolic move to the upside, a beautiful $20,000 move since when I called the breakout, and even did shows just this last week talking about the last chance to buy. And hopefully you did get some of your buys in as I did. Before we do all that, smash the like button. This does help get this channel out to more people, and of course does help support the channel, as does your wonderful comments that you take the time to leave. I take the time to read them and respond as well. Thank you so much there. And the history, we cut straight to it, is of course Bitcoin has flipped Google and has flipped silver there, and it is just behind only Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple, and gold there by the largest cap in the world. Bitcoin, just Nvidia, Microsoft, and Apple, and of course gold. It is still lagging behind. Absolutely incredible stuff there. Bitcoin showing itself to be incredibly resilient during these tough economic climate that we are currently in right now. And let's have a look at how Bitcoin has been tracking. If we look at the move that we've seen up to 94,000, absolutely incredible, and a pullback to the new Fibonacci's that we have now, that we have a confirmed local low. That doesn't mean that we can't capitulate from here and go into a bear market. We'll talk about that in a moment and what my thoughts are on that. But we have right now, for the meantime, Bitcoin is finding some support at the 5 at 92,126. Mark that in your charts. We also have a Fibonacci below at 91,242 and the 100-day moving average at 90,910. Look, I'd be very surprised if we at least didn't come down and test the 90,910 level, the 100-day moving average, and a little bit of a pullback, a retest there. But the key level for me is always the 200-day moving average. Now, the 200-day moving average is the line in the sand. We do need to see a weekly close on Sunday above the 200-day moving average to confirm this move. Now, coming back to retest the 200-day moving average would not be unusual. I think it would be quite good and would be quite healthy. I don't see a problem with that at all, especially we do have a fair value gap between around about 88,500, just below where the 200-day moving average is. And the 200-day moving average is moving up each day, by the way, which is at 88,700. And that fair value gap, it already ate into a little bit, but that fair value gap was between about 92,000 and about 88,500. Generally do see those filled, those gaps get filled. And I wouldn't be surprised if this did get filled. Now, it doesn't mean that it has to be filled right away. Sometimes these fair value gaps don't get filled until much later. You know, Bitcoin could go off and make a new all-time high, 120,000, and then later on in some kind of a bear market, that fair value gap can be filled. But just keep in mind, it would achieve two goals. If this fair value gap gets filled, we'd also see a retest of the 200-day moving average also as well. And obviously, we do not want to see a weekly close below that. If we do see a weekly close below that, I will be updating the Discord in my daily Discord market update in both the Tribal Trades Discord and the Stocks with Josh Discord. And of course, I will on my Monday morning Bitcoin video be sharing my thoughts on that. Okay, but if you want immediate thoughts on the Sunday close, make sure that you are in the Discord, in the Stocks with Josh or the Tribal Trades Discord there. Okay, so that would be something that would be, I think, would be good would be okay. A drop down and a retest of that level before moving further. In fact, that would be a fantastic entry if you missed out on that move from 74 to 94. That might be your last chance to jump in there on Bitcoin. Now, also something to consider, we've seen something very, very bullish today, which is the 20 EMA cross on the daily, crossing over the 50 EMA on the daily there. Why is this significant? We've just seen that happen today. Absolutely incredible. That is extremely bullish. Okay, and I'll show you why this is bullish, because when we broke down from that level there, we'll go back in the time machine here. We've gone back in the time machine to February when this happened. This was the sign to get out if you ever needed one. When the 20 EMA goes below the 50 EMA on the daily, there you go, and that is what you saw. Then there was a retest into it before it capitulated. So you saw the price action of Bitcoin go up into it as it crossed to the downside. Then there was, it went all the way down actually to 93, and then it pushed all the way back up to 99, $6,000 move before rejecting there to the downside there, okay? Fast forward to the future to save you some time there. So what's a possibility is that we broke through this, and there's not really been any kind of a retest back into it after the cross. And so that also, now this 20 is moving up very quickly because it's a 20 EMA on the daily. So it only takes 20 days of candle price action averaged out, with more emphasis being on what's happened most recently. And look what's happened most recently. So we can expect this continue to move up quite quickly. In fact, just over the last couple of days, it's moved up, quite significantly. You can see there. And so it wouldn't surprise me if Bitcoin did come down, retest this 200-day moving average, and the 20 EMA be somewhere around that level before then taking off to the upside. And I do think that's what's going to happen. I still do think that's the more likely scenario, okay? We can only trade in probabilities, or I only trade in probabilities, and I think the highest probability is that we do at some point come down. Now, look, we may take off even higher. I think if we do, I would prefer that we actually filled this fair value gap, retested the 200-day moving average, retested the 20 EMA on the daily when it's up around this level before making a higher low, before then taking off a lot higher. And I think that's the most probable scenario right now. Of course, we do have to consider the scenario that this has been a dead cat bounce. It's been a fake out and before a shakeout to the downside, and we close below the 200-day moving average, and then we capitulate down to the downside, and we go below that 74K down to 69 and lower. And at that point, it's most likely that we are in a bear market at that point, okay? So all eyes are going to be on Sunday. Now, of course, this could all happen before then. We could see a drop down and a push off. In crypto, anything can happen. Look, we've seen a $20,000 move in just a few days. Absolutely remarkable. Or at least a $10,000 move in just a few days, and a $20,000 move in just a few weeks. And so it's very important to understand that we can see a $10,000 candle over the next couple of days that could take us all the way up to $100,000. And then the likelihood of closing below that on Sunday would be very low. That's why we just take it day to day and week to week. We just price as truth. We trade the charts. We interpret the charts there. And of course, what we don't want to see for Bitcoin is the MACD on the monthly time frame. I've shared this before. This is our big warning as well. We don't want to see that blue line cross below the red line there on the MACD. That would not be something that we want to see there. So far, it's okay. And of course, that would line up with what happened in the last bear market. When we dropped below that, that was the end, as you can see there. So we haven't seen that happen at the moment. And of course, on the weekly time frame with Bitcoin, we have seen that bullish move to the upside there. That was the place to enter. I shared a video just about the stochastic RSI on the weekly time frame here. I shared this in the Discord. That would have been the moment to get in the Bitcoin trade before it broke out to the upside there. I wouldn't be jumping in at this point right now. No, you had the opportunity there. And many weeks there, I had shared about me buying Bitcoin when it was down around the 50-week moving average and around the 50 EMA on the weekly. And also I made purchases when it came and hit my tribal trades trend line, one line, to rule them all. And as you can see, that it has acted as quite superb support there for Bitcoin, apart from 2 weeks where it went under and gave me a couple of opportunities to buy a little bit lower. Let's jump into Sui. Sui's been a trade that we've been trading in the Tribal Trades Discord. We did a live trading. That's what happens on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Today, there's another live session there, and we also do some Saturdays as well for those that work 9 to 5. All these sessions are live and recorded and available for those who are in the Tribal Trades Discord. And of course, what we've seen over here is almost, it hasn't even hit the 200-day moving average, and it rejected. Okay, so we've had a rejection before even getting there. We're below a key Fibonacci level there at $3, and the 20 EMA on the weekly and the 200 EMA on the daily are just below there, looking at about around that 275 level there. But we got this entry down at around $2.10 is where we took the entry, and we've been able to ride that up for well over 40% profit for those of you who took the trade there in the Tribal Trades Discord. And if you would like to join me there is a link below in the description of this video. You might need to click the more button that will pop out, and there'll be the Tribal Trades Discord link there. And of course, we do leverage trading in there where you can learn and be prepared for when the market does go into a bear market. You can make a lot of money shorting the market to the bottom, to the downside responsibly. Okay, with leverage. Learn how to do that in the Tribal Trades Discourse, of course, as well as making money on the way up. And when the market trends sideways, you can make money in any environment with the click of a button. And of course, if you have a 9 to 5 job, of course, you could have taken this trade, because even if you didn't make the live session, I share these trades in the Tribal Trades Discord in real time. And so you could have taken that trade on the Tuesday, I believe, when it occurred, and then you could have gotten out a week later on the Tuesday, Wednesday, and made profit on that. Gone to your job, enjoyed going to work. Well, who enjoys going to work? Well, some of you might, depends where you work. And then you could have comfortably made that trade many, many days later, okay? So absolutely fantastic there. You can learn how to all do that on the Tribal Trades Discord. I'm also in the Stocks with Josh Discord, okay? And I have my own Crown Traders channel in there where I share education, insights, some of my trade setups, and of course, entertainment, because I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is for education and entertainment purposes only. Are you not entertained? Okay. And how can you not be entertained by what we've seen? There's incredible buying opportunities on Sui and also on Bitcoin. We also got the Tau trade at $233, and that went all the way up to $348. That would have well have paid for the cost of the Tribal Trades Discord. Less than a cup of coffee a day, people. Only around $1.50 a day, and you could have landed those two whopping trades that would have well paid for Discord for the month, or many months, or even for some people many years. I know some people cashed in as much as $4,000 and $10,000 on trading the Tribal Trades way. Okay, let's quickly look at the yellow brick road, because we're going to follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick road. We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. And just quickly here, you can see we're starting to move and take out that liquidity to the upside. That doesn't mean we can't come back down and pick up some of this liquidity to the downside here at 87 and 89, even maybe 86, come down to that 200-day moving average. But if we continue the upside, this is just going to be left behind, just like this was left behind to the downside as we came and took out all of the liquidity, almost all the liquidity. The market makers fooled everybody and left that little bit at the bottom at 73 thousand. When are they going to come and get that? Are they going to come? Is this the dead cat bounce and they're going to come and get it soon? Or are they going to get it later in the bear market? I'd like to know your thoughts on that one. But there is far more liquidity still to the upside, billions and billions of dollars, all the way up to $110,000 there. Show me the money, says the market maker. And I did feel that this was a very strong possibility that they would leave that behind, and they did. And I do think we're just going to continue up. That doesn't mean there's not going to be some pullbacks along the way there, so just be careful with that. And that's all I have time for today. Again, thanks for tuning in, and until the next episode, or until I see you in the Discord, happy trading.